Hello, everybody. All right, welcome to the Mikestand. We're of course waiting for see a few more anybody else shows up. I hope everybody had a nice Christmas. Of course, our first time back since Friday, as we did not have a show on Sunday or Monday, due in part to the holidays. So I hope everybody had a good weekend. So tonight, of course, we're back in the swing of things. We're going to be going over a couple of news articles from Bounding into Comics. A couple anime slash manga articles. One of which the I guess the new trailer is out for the upcoming season for Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba. Also, um, we have some news on the Ancient Magus Bride manga. Also, of course, wrestling wrap up. Hey, Shadowhawk. Hey, man. Hail, Mike. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Yeah, thank you, my friend. If you haven't already, of course, guys, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything grabs your attention as we go over stuff, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I will try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. Let's see now. So, as I said, we got a couple articles plus we're going to have the wrestling wrap up a little later, and then of course at the end of the show will be the this day in each history. So, without any further ado, since we do have some people here and we do have somewhat of an active chat here, so like I said, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. With that being said, why don't we get to the first article then? First news item of the night. Um, Here we go. We're going to go ahead and get this, of course, underway here. All right, so let's get to this first article. First article comes from the anime section of the site. Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba confirms premiere and theatrical world tour dates for season four's hour-long first episode. Article by Nerdigans Inc., published December 22nd, 2023. Let's go ahead and get into this. Um, there you go. Okay. All right. Get into this. So, it's been less than a year after fans saw Tanjiro Kamado and crew save the Swordsmith village from demonic destruction, but Aniplex and the UFOtable, um, um, are already sharpening their blades for the next season of their Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba anime adaptation. Of course, and I know Toonami just got finished with the Mugen Train arc, the TV version of it. Um, Announced as part of a special promotional reel released on December 10th, the Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba anime will premiere its adaptation of the series' 10th story arc, the Hashira Training arc, in April 2024. Like last year's Swordsmith Village arc, the next saga in Tanjiro's adventure will both kick off with a special 1 hour season premiere and a special To the Hashira Training World Tour, wherein the episode, as well as the final episode of last season, will be screened in various theaters across the globe. So I believe they're talking about the Japanese airing of this, which, as usual, the Japanese airings happen usually before. Sometimes they'll simulcast the Japanese and the American viewing. Sometimes they won't. Um, Anyways, continuing on here. Let's see. Picking up roughly around a week after the events in the Swordsmith Village arc, the Hashira training arc will see Tanjiro Kamado, who is voiced in the Japanese by Natsuki Hanai, who provided the voice of Cheng Chong in Undead Unlock, undergo special Hashira training to prepare for an upcoming showdown with a powerful enemy. All right. Just prior to the young hero's arrival into their lives, the Hashira of the Demon Corps are summoned to Ubayashiki Mansion for an emergency meeting, including Wind Hashira Sanemi Shinazugawa, who was voiced in the Japanese by Tomokazu Seki, who provided the voice of Panda in Jujutsu Kaisen. Um, Serpent Hashira Obanai Igoro, voiced in the Japanese by Kenichi Suzumura, who provided the voice of Shin Asuka in Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Freedom. Mist Hashira Muichiro Tokito, voiced in the Japanese by Kengo Karanishi, who provided the voice of Gen Asagiri in Doctor Stone. Love Hashira Mitsuri Kanroji, whose voice is in the Japanese was provided by Kana Hanazawa, who provided the voice of Ayaka Sajo in Fate Strange Fake. Stone Hashira Gyome Himejima, who is voiced by in the Japanese by Tomokazu Sugita, who provided the voice of Gintoki Sakata in Gintama. Insect Hashira Shinobu Kocho, voiced in the Japanese by Saori Hayami, who provided the voice of Rin Nanankura in Gigi Harem. And finally, the water Hashira Giyu Tomioka, whose voice is provided in the Japanese by Takahiro Sakurai, who provided the voice of Suguru Geto in Jujutsu Kaisen. Try saying all that 3 times fast, folks. Okay. Let me just try it here now. Huh. Oh, I guess he did respond pretty quickly there. All right. All right. So, anyways, getting back to the article here. And there, of course, are all the pictures of all the people mentioned. Let's see. From left to right, of course, Sanemi Shinazura on the left there with that big scar across his face. Okana Igora looks like he's crying. He has no irises. Um, Iyo Tomioka right there. And then finally the one with the yellow and green eye, Yome Himajima. Led by the mysterious Amane Ubayashiki, who is voiced by Rina Sato, who provided the voice of Makoto Nijima in Persona 5. In the wake of the group's real leader, her husband Kaguya, voiced in the Japanese by Toshiyuki Morikawa, who provided the voice of Sephiroth in the Final Fantasy series, growing ill. The group is subsequently informed that thanks to Nezuko's um, voice in the Japanese by Akari Kito, who provided the voice of Nene Yashiro in Toilet Bound Hanako-kun. Um, Unique emergence as a half-human, half-demon, the villainous Muzen Kibutsuji, uh, voiced in the Japanese by Toshihiko Seki, who provided the voice of Oyaji Medama in Hihiro Tanjo Gigege no Nazo, is preparing to move up his plans for world domination, lest the human world grow too powerful for him to conquer. To prepare for Muzan's attack, Tanjiro is then tasked with undergoing a special Hashira training regimen, starting with former Sound Hashira Tengen Uzui's, who is voiced in the Japanese by Katsuyuki Konishi, who provided the voice of Amidamaru in Shaman King. Grueling basic physical training. Kanroji's lessons in hellish flexibility, and Tokito's classes on high-speed movement. Wow, quite a regiment there, to say the least. That sounds like quite a torturous experience to place on your body. But as sometimes is the case, heroes sometimes have to go through such measures to really stack up, right? Um, Anyways, as always, of course, feel free to comment and or ask questions if anything grabs your attention. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So, anyways, with that, we continue on here. Next, the young demon slayer will have to endure swordsmanship training with Iguro, brutal speed strike education with Shinazugawa, and an even more intense round of strength conditioning, courtesy of Himajima. Wow, the way they make it sound, it's more like the kid's being tortured. And here you have Tengen Uzui from left to right. You have Tengen Uzui on the far left there. You got Mitsuri Kanroji, the second spot, and in the third spot, Shinobu Kocho, and then Muichiro Tokito at the far right there. So, I mean, I thought the second one was the one who was actually Kocho, but huh. Set to be screened on 427 local Japanese theaters, 50 of which will offer the episode in IMAX. The Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba to the Hashira training world tour kicks off in Japan with a special 2-day stage event at Tokyo's Toho Cinema Hibiya on February 2nd and 3rd. That's a Friday and Saturday. About 6 weeks away, I guess. Meanwhile, 10 cities around the world will hold special in-person events, including one in America on February 10th in New York City, featuring appearances by Tanjiro's voice actor, Natsuki Hanai, Zenitsu's voice actor, Hiro Shimono, and series producer, Yuma Takahashi. From there, Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba to the Hashira Training World Tour will make its full theatrical release on February 23rd, 2024. Friday, February 23rd, 2024. Yeah, and I think I should have said 2024 there as opposed to 2023. But yeah, so oh, they didn't even say the year there. But anyways, at the time of this writing, Aniplex USA has not announced when tickets will go on sale. And there we go. So we got through that one. Let's see if anybody's saying anything yet. Let's see, 16. Okay. I'll go back to the previous screen. And we'll get ready to move on to the next article here, which is a manga based article. Um, let's see. Um, let's see. All right. So, anyways, all right. So let's get ready to get into this next article then. All right. So let's see now. Hmm. So in the manga article here, let's see. The ancient Magus's Bride manga to start in-house production of English language simulpubs using combo of AI and human editors. I think the simulpubs are like basically they're gonna be translating them into English, and you can read the English version at the same time that the Japanese version's coming out. Japanese language version's coming out. So, article by Spencer McCauley, published back on December 23rd. So, let's go ahead and look at this. So, in drawing a new line in the ongoing battle between the self important and ideologically motivated Japanese to English localizers running amok in the entertainment industry and the fans who simply want to enjoy their favorite works in as close to their original forms as possible, manga publisher Bushiroad Works has announced that they will soon begin publishing of their own English language simulpubs of Korei Yamazaki's manga series, The Ancient Magus Bride, using a combination of both machine translation technology, in other words, AI, and human editors. Now, mind you, of course, Bushiroad is also known for such works as Card Fight Vanguard, Buddy, Buddy, uh, Supercard Buddy Fight, I believe, is what it. So there's some of the other ones, or at least a couple of the other ones. As announced by Bushiroad Works via a December 12th tweet made to the series' official Twitter account, translated via DeepL, beginning with its 96th entry, the show must go on, too. And small quote, New chapters of The Ancient Magus Bride will be serialized simultaneously in English alongside the Japanese version using AI translation technology, unquote. In parentheses here, interestingly, the last note about, quote, AI translation technology, unquote, was omitted from the English portion of the tweet's text, unparenthesed. In a follow-up tweet, the publisher further noted that said simulpubs would be produced in collaboration with Mantra Company, presumably through the use of their self-titled, quote, multilingual translation engine developed for manga and webtoon, unquote, the Mantra engine. Yeah. Again, a lot of this is coming out of the fact that a lot of people are not too fond of the idea of course, some of what the localizers here in America will do in terms of putting their own spin on things. Um, that's why they decided to maybe do it themselves. So continuing on with the article here, of course, unsurprisingly, given the widespread ongoing debate surrounding the ethical and practical aspects of artificial intelligences, or more specifically, machine learning's use in the production of various forms of art, Bushiroad's announcement was soon met with a deluge of criticism from unhappy readers, many of whom condemned the move primarily based on its cost to human jobs. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the thing is that if some of the people who had those, like the translators we're talking about, of course, if they would do their job properly, then they wouldn't have to worry about losing their jobs, right? That's kind of the point here, because a lot of fans out there don't like the idea of being preached to or having some some middleman try to tell them what they should think or how they should read a manga. So, quote, this is an insult to both the quote. This is an insult to both the creator and the consumers, fans. Unquote. Wrote at Firebird Rose. Quote. The anime manga industry has been I think it's supposed to say in the spotlight for quite some time regarding its exploitative nature, and this just adds to it. Getting a machine to do the job of a person to dish out content faster is just vile. Well, that might be part of the issue, but I don't think that is all the issue there, or why they decided to go to it. Quote, so long as you are using AI translation, I will not be supporting any series replacing its translation team with AI, declared at Peeves B2. Quote, you wanted to save money, have fun losing it, unquote. Likewise, at HLNB01 opined, quote, discussing that Japanese companies think they can get away with using AI translation instead of hiring an actual human that understands nuance and can perform research, unquote. Again, though, part of the problem is a lot of the fan base doesn't care for what some of the human translators have been doing. That's where I think that's one of the points they were making here. They were doing this in part because of the localizers. In the face of this backlash, Bushiroad Works would return to the series Twitter the next day to, quote, clarify misinformation that has been spread, unquote. Quote, firstly, regarding AI assisted translation, in smaller quotes, We have implemented a system from Mantra Corporation, unquote, began the publisher. Quote, this system combines their unique machine translation technology with the editing and proofreading of professional translators. So basically what they're saying here then is that they're not like full on replacing AI translation with humans. They're still going to be hiring humans to do a lot of proofreading and all that. They're just not going to be using human translators. Turning to elaborate on, quote, the purpose of this simulcast distribution, unquote, Bushy-Road Works then explained its main goal was to combat the fact that, quote, unofficial translations are sometimes released for free and circulate as pirated versions. So now what they're talking about there, it seems like they're counteracting that they're saying they're doing this because of basically fan subs. It sounds like, you know, that's what that seems to be what they're it's fan subs they're talking about. Quote, illegal manga piracy sites that publish these cause serious harm to the manga culture and industry, both domestically and internationally, unquote, they detailed. Quote, the ancient Magus bride has also continuously suffered from such damages. Initiatives like the one we are undertaking now have been proven effective in reducing piracy damage, as demonstrated by precedent cases with Shueisha's works. So their claim is that they're doing this to counteract piracy, maybe like fan subs, mind you. Which I would. Drawing their statement to a close with a brief note, quote, regarding books produced and licensed officially by foreign publishers, unquote, Bushy-Road Works ultimately made it clear that, quote, if there are any offers from various companies, they will continue to be considered. And if conditions are met, publications will proceed as before. The situation remains unchanged, unquote. The next chapter of the Ancient Magus Bride, which, if their plans hold, will be the second to be translated by the publisher's new process, is set to debut in the pages of Bushy-Road Works' February issue of their eponymous manga magazine, Monthly Bushy-Road. All right, so let me see what time it is now. Oh, first off, we'll backtrack here a bit. Let me see, where are we at on time? Coming up on 30 minutes here. Yeah, I think we'll go ahead and start. Hey there, JR. Hail Xenu and Zia. Hail Mike and Hawk. Hey, JR. Welcome to this. If you haven't already, if you can like and share this thing, see if we can get some more friendly people involved here. We're just going over a manga article here. Also, if anything grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. We'll try to answer the questions to the best of our ability. So with that, let's see. So we're at 30 minutes now. Yeah, I was hoping to, kind of go a little early, get off a little earlier here. So we're gonna move on to the wrestling wrap up, as it were. as we're gonna try to just go up to about 45 minutes tonight. Get the time and all that kind of evened out here. So we're gonna just kind of get caught up on some news involving WWE. Um, AEW and TNA this week. AEW, of course, or I'm sorry, WWE, of course, taking a little time off here as as it's kind of towards the end of the year. Of course, last Friday's SmackDown, which was pre-recorded the week earlier. Pre-recorded the week earlier. Past Friday SmackDown, which was aired on this past Friday, but recorded the week early on the 15th as part of the and a Holiday Havoc 8-man tag team match. You saw Bianca Belair teaming with Michin, Shotzi, Zelina Vega to defeat Damage Control of Asuka, Bayley, women's champion Io Sky, and Kairi Sane. Dragon Lee retained the NXT North American title over Butch. In a number one contender tournament semifinal for the United States title, you saw Kevin Owens defeat Carmelo Hayes and Santos Escobar defeat Bobby Lashley in their respective matchups to set up for the finals for the number one contendership to Logan Paul's United States title. And then AJ Styles defeated Solo Sikoa via DQ. Now, moving on, of course, to the AEW as Continental Classic is starting to wind down this week. As on this past Saturday's Collision, saw the remaining first round matchups in the Continental Classic as Bryan Danielson went to a draw with Claudio Castagnoli, which effectively eliminated Castagnoli from basically the semifinals, and the Blue League finals would lead to the final. Also, in the other Continental Classic match, Daniel Garcia, in what many would consider an upset, finally got his first points of the tournament, defeating Brody King with a quick pin. And Eddie Kingston advanced to the Blue League finals against Bryan Danielson, in which he defeated Andrade El Idolo, both men having 9 points, but Eddie Kingston having the head-to-head matchup, head-to-head tiebreaker by beating him. So now Eddie Kingston moves on this Wednesday night to face Bryan Danielson, rather, to try to, which is tomorrow. We'll go which will see him look to get some revenge after losing his first two matchups in the tournament, coming back and defeating Claudio Castagnoli of the Blackpool Combat Club. If he can beat Bryan Danielson, then he'll take on, and if Jon Moxley wins the three-way tomorrow night in the Gold League finals, could set up for an interesting matchup. But Bryan Danielson and Eddie Kingston will be facing each other tomorrow night on Dynamite. We'll go over more of the card, of course, tomorrow during the show. Also, the other matchups on the night include the World Trios title on Collision was vied for as Billy Gunn and the Acclaimed retained over Action Andretti and the Martin Brothers of Top Flight. Keith Lee defeated Brian Cage, and Abaddon and Thunder Rosa defeated Julia Hart and Sky Blue in a tag team match. This, of course, also was announced for this Saturday's World's End pay-per-view. We'll see Abaddon challenging Julia Hart for the TBS title. And, of course, we'll go over that more as the week continues on here. So, also, as we get into the new year, is, of course, TNA, well, technically they're still Impact until the 13th, but TNA, Total Nonstop Action, recently announced that making their debut for the company will be the tag team known as the Grizzled Young Veterans. Jake Drake and Zach Gibson, who previously wrestled in the WWE as a Dyad, DYAD, will be making their debut for TNA Impact at the Hard to Kill pay-per-view on January 13th. Also happening on January 13th, of course, will be NWA's next big show, Paranoia. They already have signed for that one, of course, Matt Cardona challenging EC3 for the NWA World Heavyweight Champion in an ultimate match of death, which I have no idea how that's any different from a death match, but I guess we'll find out soon enough. But with that, we'll now start to move on to this day in Niche history. Let's see. Of course, because of the fact we've been gone for the last 4 days, we're going to do the This Day in Niche history segment a little bit differently. Instead of just focusing on today, I've picked out something from each of the last 4 days, so something from Saturday, Sunday, Monday, yesterday, and today. So I have something for each of the last 4 days. So let's get to that. So today being Tuesday, December 26th, 2023. Let's take a look back on the last 4 days in Niche history. So first off, we head back just 5 years, I believe, for December 23rd. On Saturday's date 5 years ago, this past Saturday, Doga Kobo's Anima Yell completed its run on Japanese TV on this 5 years ago this past Saturday. 5 years ago this past Saturday, Doga Koba's Anima Yell finished its run on Japanese TV. So there we go with that one. Now getting ready to move on to the next one. This past Sunday, on December 24th, on Sunday, 10 years ago Sunday, this past Sunday, 10 years ago this past Sunday, DreamWorks Animation's Turbo Fast premiered on Netflix on Sunday's date 10 years ago. 10 years ago this past Sunday, DreamWorks Animation's Turbo Fast premiered on Netflix. All right, so with that, now moving on to the next piece of Niche history here. I'm going to go back 40 years ago for yesterday, 40 years ago, yesterday, the 25th, Christmas Day, 1983. Christmas Day, 1983, 40 years ago yesterday. saw World Class Championship Wrestling hold its Christmas Star Wars event. The main event of the show saw Jimmy Garvin defeat Chris Adams for the NWA American Heavyweight title. Of course, this is kind of continuing a feud between the kind of an extension of the feud between the Von Erichs, who Chris Adams was affiliated with at the time, and Jimmy Garvin, who was affiliated with, who had been affiliated with the Fabulous Freebirds. Extension of that feud, but also these two were feuding among themselves. In a no disqualification, loser leaves town tag team title match, Kevin and Mike Von Erich defeated the Fabulous Freebirds. The combination of Buddy Roberts and Terry Gordy. And that was probably leading into the very short-lived Fabulous Freebirds run, I believe, in the WWE. Eventually led to that. Jose Lothario defeated Black Gordman, two longtime veterans. But Jose Lothario, for those of you who don't remember, was the guy who trained Shawn Michaels. He was obviously a professional wrestler known as Super Sock. David Von Erich, this is about 6 weeks before his passing, 6-7 weeks before his passing, defeated Ric Flair via DQ in a match for the NWA World Heavyweight title. Now, there's an interesting story here in regard to this. David was kind of the next chosen one at that time. David, before his unfortunate passing, was slated to eventually defeat Ric Flair for the NWA World title. But when he passed away from endoritis, I don't know what there was some kind of acute enteritis. That's when eventually Kerry was chosen to win the title from Flair. Of course, Kerry's reign would only last 3 weeks. Drop it back to Flair in Japan, but but David this was probably one of David's last matches in the States before he went on the Japanese tour and eventually passed on. Mike Reed would defeat the Mongol. Kerry Von Erich defeated Kamala by DQ, albeit spelled a little bit differently here. It is still the same Kamala that you all might remember, who had the little painting on his belly, big black guy with the painting on his belly. And then let's see the opening. Not quite the opening match, but Brian Adias and King Parsons would defeat the Super Destroyers for the NWA American Tag Team Championship. Now, the American Heavyweight and Tag Team Champions, those were the two top titles for World Class at this time, just so you guys know. And then in the opening match, the Missing Link, aka Dewey Robertson, defeated Johnny Mantell. So that happened. So 40 years ago, yesterday, was the Christmas Star Wars event for World Class Championship Wrestling. And finally, we get to today's date, as we will go back 21 years ago today. On this date, 21 years ago today, on this date, 21 years ago today, on this date, 21 years ago today, the 610th issue of Volume 1, 610th issue of Volume 1 of Batman. The same Batman that started back in 1940. The 610th issue went on sale on this date 21 years ago today. Sold for $2.25, 40 pages. Story was The Beast, written by Jeff Loeb, penciled by Jim Lee. Scott Williams did the inking, lettering done by Richard Starking, and Alex Sinclair did the coloring. So on this date, 21 years ago today, the 610th issue of the Batman went on sale on this date. Let's see, 21 years ago today. So with that, I thank everyone for being here tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. As I said, we were just going a little short tonight, but we'll try to get back to going an hour tomorrow. So we'll be back here with more niche news tomorrow. Thursday, of course, we'll most likely be doing the if he did one this week, we'll be doing the if he does one this week, we'll be doing Indie Comic Showcase and Bleeding Full on Thursday, and then going over that article. If Chris is taking the week off this week from doing that, then we'll, of course, just do regular news as we would normally do. And then Friday, I'll have RJ Carter coming in, co-hosting with me, as we will be looking back to January 1940, doing looking back to comics history. We'll be looking at stuff that went on sale from Harvey Comics, looking over, of course, Champion Comic Volume 1, Number 5, and Speed Comics. Haven't decided the features yet, but I will soon enough. So with that, I thank everybody for being here. Hope everybody enjoyed the show, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.